Welcome to the Joshua Jordan Experience. Listen to gather mystical insights for an extraordinary life. Hello, my beloved friends. Thank you for tuning in once again to the Joshua Jordan Experience. Today, I want to offer you some thoughts about how Joshua is different. Yes, Joshua is different, and the teaching of oneness is expansive. Now, today I'm going to touch on some points in which Joshua's teaching of oneness differs from what you've been hearing in New Age philosophy or in the rehash of Eastern religion for Western society. Oneness moves us beyond the teachings and the dogma and the doctrine of ancient religions. I would like to say that all of the religions contain wisdom and guidance. All of the religions were intended to bring out the best in humanity. And yet somehow, along with these religions, we were taught doctrine and dogma. And some of that is very inhibiting. Just for one example, I will bring up the idea that in oneness, there is no vengeful God that's seeking to punish you eternally for not worshiping him the way he thinks you should. No, there is no vengeful deity that demands that you find only one path to find your way to home. So, Joshua is different. We will transcend the teachings of ancient religion that include fear or rituals that are required and so forth. Oneness frees us from all of that, and Joshua's teaching is different. Another major difference in Joshua's teaching that differs from Eastern doctrine that's being rehashed and taught to you as new thought or new age thinking. There is no such thing as reincarnation as it is taught in Eastern doctrine. You see, Eastern doctrine teaches that you go through a series of lifetimes. And in this series, each lifetime you are doing your best to improve upon yourself so that you can attain nirvana or Atman. So nirvana, oneness with the whole. Atman, oneness with Brahman. Brahman is the one deity that created all. So the idea is oneness, but you go through reincarnation, multiple series of lifetimes, trying to achieve the return to nirvana, to oneness. Joshua's teaching about this is very different. You do have multiple lifetimes, and yet they are not linear. They're concurrent. All of your lifetimes are happening now. And therefore, you have all of the wisdom available to you throughout all of your lifetimes, available to you now. So there's no reason for you to go through a series. Also, you cannot live life on the installment plan. In other words, you can't live a lifetime where you break all the rules and pay for it in a different lifetime. No, that is not how incarnation works, or karma for that matter. So I could talk on and on about this, and I have offered other videos that talk about multiple lifetimes. So please, if you're curious, go back and look at those. Another point in which Joshua differs very much from what you've been taught about judgment. Joshua wants us to stop fearing our judgment or treating it as if it is something disgusting or not worthy of us. Your judgment is a crucial part of your intuition. Your judgment is a crucial part of your decision-making ability. I know that judgment has been taught as something that we need to avoid because it causes us to commit sin. Again, here we go again with this idea that there is something sinful for which you need forgiveness. Judgment is natural and it guides you. You need it every day. Keep your judgment power turned on and cranked up to high. Because you see, it is your judgment that allows you empathy with other human beings, other animals, other aspects of being. So judgment is not something to be avoided. Now, here's where the problem comes in. When I sit on my high horse and cast judgment down on other beings, that is a misuse of judgment. That is an abuse of power. And it is a total misunderstanding of who you are, you see. All of your judgment define who you are. All of your judgments define who you are. They define your values and what is right and wrong for you. And if you keep your judgment at home like that, I am judging what is right and wrong for myself. I am judging what I think is good or bad for my values. There is no harm in judgment. And your judgment is an important part of your whole self. So, casting judgment as something that is sinful is a misunderstanding. And it leads you into denial, because when you deny that you judge, you're lying to yourself and you're burying that in your shadow. And we've talked about what happens when you bury stuff in shadow. It will come out. And you don't want it to embarrass you. So, as you know, I can talk in depth about the subject of judgment, but moving on to things that Joshua teaches that are different from a lot of New Age philosophy. Joshua reminds us that ego is the Latin word for I. So to say my I is doing something is ridiculous. English-speaking teachers or English-speaking people, just stop saying my ego. You're saying my I, and that is terrible grammar. Own what it is that you're throwing into that slop bucket called ego. What is it? I was seeking your attention, not, oh, my ego was needing attention. Do you hear the difference in that? I was seeking attention. Or, I was bragging about my accomplishment. I'm so proud of myself, and I was bragging. And so what? You are worthy and you deserve to be proud of yourself. Pride is not a crime. However, when we think we are superior or setting ourselves above others, that is an error, and a lesson will follow. So, it is that simple. Ego is the Latin word for I. Stop throwing every little trait you don't like about yourself into the slop bucket called ego. You know, when someone says to me, oh, that was my ego acting out, I'm wondering, what part of your I was acting out? What was it? Define more clearly what you're speaking of. Oh, all right. Well, my ego was fighting for my survival. My ego was fighting for its survival. My identity might argue for my existence sometimes. So own that. Oh, that was my ego defending my beliefs, because if I don't trust my own beliefs, what can I trust? You see, whatever we throw into ego, let's start owning it. And the more I own it, the more power I have to change it. if I want to. So I'm going to do another video about the subject of ego. I've done one in the past, and I think it's time to review that subject in more depth. So moving on. What's another thing that Joshua teaches us that's different from what we're hearing? He teaches that Earth herself is healthy and robust. Anyone who says Earth is dying is grossly wrong. Earth is not dying. What is changing is the habitat, the environment, the climate. Yes, those things can be changed such that humans will no longer be able to dwell here. Joshua has made that clear to me too, that there is a potential for humans to create an environment on Earth that is no longer healthy for human habitat. But does that mean Earth died? No, Earth is not going to die. The Earth has a finite number of eons in which to exist, just like all planetoids, planets, solar systems, stars come and go. Yes. But Earth is not dying, certainly not now, and not because of climate change. The Earth will survive no matter what the climate is. Earth herself will recover from any surface damage humans have done. You see, we are just tiny little creatures dwelling on the Earth, and we affect it in many ways, and yet Earth herself could shake us off like a bad case of fleas if she ever wanted to. But no, the Earth loves us, gives abundantly to us. Earth is our mother, and we want to worship her with our stewardship, our loving care. That is what we owe to Earth because she gives freely and abundantly to humankind. But the Earth is not dying, and anyone who tells you she's dying is making an error. So I will leave that for today and talk about it on a video at some other point. Another way in which Joshua differs somewhat from religions and the teaching of religious beliefs is that within his philosophy of oneness, there are paradoxical conditions. Paradox occurs, and it is an essential part of our existence, actually. So if you find Joshua saying something that's contradictory to something he said before, please understand and accept that there are paradoxical truths within oneness. There are statements that are equally true and yet seem to be contradictory. One is, for example, you have eternal life, and one day this body will perish. So it looks like there's death of the body, and yet life itself, that which animates the body, is eternal and everlasting. So another condition that's different in Joshua's point of view, he wants us to let go of these phrases that we use that cause us to feel separate from parts of our whole self. One of those conditions is called divinity. Oh, oftentimes we think that that which is divine is outside of ourselves, or we seek something pure and sacred that is not a part of ourself. But you are as divine as anything you would seek outside yourself. Divinity dwells in you as you. So remember that which is sacred, that which is divine, is a part of all that is a part of you. Joshua also wants us to stop using terms like higher self, because that implies then I have a lower self. Now, this comes from Hinduism, basically. I mean, this is really ancient religion. This is that uh, concept of the big self and the small self. And I've talked about that in other videos as well. And I will probably go into more detail again in the future. But when we keep thinking that I need to tune into my higher self as if somehow I'm ever disconnected from a part of myself, I am not. And there is no lower self. So how can I have higher self? It implies that something is lesser than or lower than. Now, the big S self in Hinduism, of course, is the part of our whole self that is always aware of oneness, that is always aware of our whole being. That is the higher self, the whole self, the big self. And then the small self is the part of us that's really involved in our day-to-day details. The things I need to get done, the people I need to talk to, the children I need to care for, and the job I have to take. It's all about living your life. The small self supposedly gets so absorbed into living your life that it forgets our oneness. And that the small self is kind of like this thing called ego that can get in the way of your whole self. So Joshua is trying to move us forward in this conversation. He wants us to stop thinking of parts of ourself as being separate, my higher self, my ego, my this, my that. I have one life, I am whole, and I want to integrate. And there's an element of this that kind of dovetails into this part of stop separating within our whole selves. Now, there are teachers trying to teach you something of value when they tell you, you are not your body. You are not your feelings. Oh, you are not even your thoughts. Oh, well, Joshua says, yes, you are. You are your body, and you are your feelings, and you are your thoughts, and you see, Joshua is into addition, not subtraction or division. Addition, inclusiveness. I am my body and so much more. Yes, one day this body will perish, but for now, it is mine. It is the only body I have to walk around with on this planet. If you have more than one, I'd like to know about it. You have one body, and it is you. You see, you are translating spirit into manifestation. You are constantly channeling your essence into existence. And if this is not your body, whose is it? You are creating this body. I am my body, and so much more. You see, what they're trying to teach you is that you are a consciousness, an essence that is more than body. But to tell you I am not my body is misleading. It is misunderstanding. I am my body and my mind and my feelings and, and, and. I am soul and I am entity and I am deity and, you see, and anything you can think of, say to yourself, I am that too. I am that too. And this is the only vehicle that I was given to get myself around on this planet. So yes, I am my body and beyond. You see, consciousness creates all that is. So, of course, you are more than a body. You are more than your feelings, and you are more than your thoughts. You are not a higher or lower self. You are not an authentic self and an ego. Stop. You see, Joshua is here to remind you to integrate. Integrate. I am whole and complete. I am endless. And in this I am a body. I am a human. And I am a soul animating human life on earth. As you can see, I can get very carried away in these things. I intend to offer you videos going forward that show you or teach you more about how Joshua is different in the teaching of oneness and in our growth and evolution. As a matter of fact, Joshua is not even fond of the word evolution. And when I use it, he gives me a little tweak. I'll explain that in another video some other day. So for now, to the best of my ability, I'm going to step aside and let Joshua speak to you. Hello, beloved one. It is my joy to be talking to you again right now. I want to tell you that Jordan has a vast understanding of what I teach. For as he says to you, for 40 years during this lifetime, he has been my devoted student. And yes, he has had breaks in time over that course of human development. And during those breaks is when his knowledge that I have taught him has integrated much more deeply into his complete awareness. It is my intention to teach you to stay connected to oneness while you go about your daily living, your practical life. So, in the teachings of Hinduism, that would mean keeping the big self and the small self completely in communication and linked at all times. No more separation. No more forgetting about one part of self. Being a whole being, knowing that I am as divine as anything I believe to be sacred, and I am also as flawed as anything I judge to be an error. You see, all that is a part of I am. All that is a part of I am. So I am Joshua. I am Jeshua. I am Emmanuel. I am Jordan. Don't you see? I am all that I am. So in my whole self, it is my intention to stay in the balance, to remember all that I am and to bring it into harmony and find the place of balance. And I am grace. Grace is the presence of unconditional love. I am unconditional love. And when we are together, we dwell in grace. There is no expectation of perfection. There is no expectation of high holiness. There is a hope of wholeness, completeness, oneness. I am all that I am. And I am here for you. I have come to be very close to the earth right now, as this is the age of awakening, and I am the spirit of the age. If you are interested in growing into your whole being, I invite you to spend more time with me. And I will respond to you wherever you are, whatever you are doing, whatever your issue may be. Call me and listen. I will answer you. That is my promise. And to the best of my ability, I will guide you. I will lead you. And yet you must walk. I will lead you. And you choose to follow or not. And you know what? Either way is perfect for you. Be who you are. Do what you do. I know and see many of you are teachers in your own right, and you are showing the way to the age of peace, love, and abundance for all. And I want to contribute to your power and effectiveness. I am not saying you must teach your students the way Jordan teaches his. No. We need different teachers with different styles and different approaches because guess what? There are many different types of students on the planet. Some will not be able to hear Jordan or understand what he says. But those of you who do, you are the leaders, teachers, and healers of this golden age. If you hear and understand what Jordan and I are teaching you, please arrange to spend more time with us, for there is more to know and more to grow. I believe it is time to conclude my comments before this video gets too long. I do want to tell you, let the light grow. Let love show. Let your life be fun. And always be true to you. I love you, and I bid you good day. Thank you for listening. We hope you heard something to ponder and gained inspiration for your journey. Please join us again next time. Joshua says, let the light grow, let love show, and let your life be fun.